Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today, my video's topic is about us as a Muslim woman and the dowry that we receive from our husbands on our wedding. Um, it's a very funny story. One time, I was standing it was like 4 or 5 years ago. I was in New York. I was standing at in an ice rink. My son plays hockey there, and one of my ex-colleague, she was also there with her son who plays hockey as well. And we end up talking, and somehow the wedding topic came up, the marriage. And I said to her that yes, it's better if we get married earlier in our lives because you don't want to have leftovers, because people get married, they find their perfect husbands or wives, and then you end up getting stuck with the leftover material. And I said to her that, my parents always made sure that we got married on time so we don't end up getting stuck with some leftover guy. And then she said to me, yeah, right? And then you don't get as many goats. And I just looked at him and I was like, what did she just say? What world does she live in? I didn't say anything to her because there was no point. So again, 2 days ago, I was watching something on social media, and nothing against white people, but it seems to me like white people need to travel more often, white Americans rather, I should say. I think they live in this big, huge box that we call United States of America, and they never travel anywhere. They never go outside of this box. And some don't even get out of their own state, and they don't even know what's happening in the next state. So they have very closed mind, and they have no exposure to the world at all. Let me educate you guys on this goats on our wedding type of thing. That's called dowry. And no, we don't get goats as dowry. In Islam, it's called meher, which is a security from a husband to his newlywed wife. So when our fathers give our hands to a man who promises him to take care of us, provide for us, and protect us, he has to give a dowry to his wife, which is called meher. And that back in the days when the only resources were the livestock and water, yes, I'm sure they did do goats and sheep as dowry because those were valuable things at the time. But as the time and age has progressed, of course, the dowry and mahar has changed as well. Now you can give mahar in the form of gold, you can give mahar in the form of cash, or you can give mahar as a form of check or maybe even cryptocurrency right now. I don't know. It's just a security that a father wants from his son-in-law for his daughter. And when a man agrees to pay the dowry that the father has demanded and he gives it to his wife, that's a token that he gives, which means starting today, I take responsibility of your food, shelter, clothing, your dignity, and your respect. I would die for that. I would die to provide for you, to protect you, to respect you. That's what it means, my dear friend. So this goat that we get, it's not goat. And Islam is such a beautiful religion, and sometimes when I look at the Western women and I look at them and the way they're living their lives, I feel so sorry for them. They don't even realize what has happened to them. They don't even realize what this man-oriented society has made them into. They don't even know why certain things are happening to them that are happening, and they take pride in it. I feel so bad what Western society has, the pain that they've caused to these women. In this country, I've seen so many people. I used to work in corporate world. I've had so many jobs in my life. I was always a full-time working mom. I had so many friends, colleagues that I used to have discussions with, and they're married couples and their bills are split. Wife has to pay half and husband has to pay half, and if wife doesn't have the money to pay 1 month for one or two of her bills, husband will lend her the money and then she has to pay that money back. Think about it. And then they have the nerves to say that we are 1400 years old fashioned Muslims. In my Islam, my man, my husband, has to provide me the food, the shelter, the clothing, pay all my bills, take care of my health. And if I have the money, it's my money. He has no right over that. I could be richer than him. He still has to pay the bills. He may have zero income and I could be millionaire, and it's still not my job to pay the bills. It's his job to pay the bills. I can show him mercy and give him my money and say, here, take my money and pay. But that's my ihsan on him. That's my favor upon him. It wasn't my job. It never will be my job. It's his job. Do you understand? His money is my money and my money is my money in Islam. That's the respect we as women get in Islam. And you know this agenda that's always presented on the mainstream media, that Muslim women are oppressed. How are we oppressed? Allah has liberated us. Our deen has liberated us by defining the responsibility and duties of our husbands, of our fathers, and of our sons, and by providing us a very protective environment inside the house. If I compare the Muslim woman with a Western woman, I feel sick to my stomach by looking at the condition that they're living in. These men, to get profit out of their commercials, out of their businesses, they have used women as their sales token. They can't even sell one chips packet without nudifying the woman at the beach. That's what the Western woman is facing. You tell a Muslim man's wife to take off your clothes and wear a bikini and see what happens to you. That's how much dignified a woman in Islam is. That's how honorable our men are. And that's how much they respect us as their wives, as their daughters, as their mothers, and as their sisters, and even as their sisters in Islam, and as their sisters in their society, in their family, and in their community. We don't have to get stripped naked to sell your packet of chips in Islam. It's your job to make that money as a man and bring everything to me inside the house. I can be a great businesswoman. I can have a job. I can keep all that money under my pillow. You can't ask for me if you were a Muslim man. You could be starving, but you still have to provide for me. It's your job as a Muslim man. So to those American friends, I just wanted to educate you how the marriage in Islam works and what does the dowry mean in Islam. The meher that man gives to his wife on the day of the marriage, day of the wedding, is actually a token to the wife, and he, as a promise that starting today, I will be the provider for you and for your kids. That's what it means. So be very careful when you make those kind of comments, because you could really offend someone. You don't know. You don't know our life. You don't live our life. So you don't know how beautiful life we have as Muslim women. I'm not saying we're perfect. I'm sure there are those kind of husbands out there who don't do their due diligence. But Islam is perfect. Muslims may not be. But that's not because Islam has caused him to be that. That's because he's just a bad person, period. Those people exist in every faith and religion and culture. But the idea of that, you get less goats and you get more goats, I just wanted to explain that idea so that those people who don't know anything about our marriages, our customs, and who don't know what it means to give a dowry to a wife, they need to get educated more. And maybe it's better if you travel to the Muslim world and see how the women in the Muslim world live. then maybe you'll appreciate our culture better, our faith better. I just wanted to get my point across to all my American friends or my white friends who think we are oppressed. We feel sorry for you, my dear. Until next video, Allah Hafiz.